This looks lovely, right? There's a few things you have to remember when you're doing some leather carving. Is that off the top, make sure that when you wet your leather, just go to town on it. Like really, just go to town, squeeze some water on it, go to town, and then let it sit for a second, like it's gonna soak in, and then just get rid of the rest with some paper towel. And then walk away. Walk the fuck away from it. You don't need to carve it yet. Walk the hell away. You know, if they're like, their vines not work, whatever you want to call it. I like the little squigglies. They certainly make them vine-esque, right? Walk away from it. It's so hard for people to do, me as well, especially when I'm filming videos because I'm trying to get stuff out to you guys and I want to make sure I get it out quick and I have to sit around. Just walk away. When you come back, look at it. Does it look really wet? If it looks really wet, walk away again. Until you come back and you can feel it and it's cool. You know, you can tell that there's water in it, but it's not soaked. That's phase one of your whole leather carving process, and this thing that if you screw up will make everything look like crap. So that's phase one. Phase two, if I do say so. Let's change camera angles just for epicness. Boom! Another camera angle. I use a ceramic blade on my swivel knife. It was the best decision I ever made. Ceramic blades are awesome. But don't be afraid to polish these. Now, I used to say sharpen. People had a fit when I said sharpen. Because you shouldn't sharpen ceramic blades. But I certainly run it over a strop. And that gets rid of any little bits of dirt, imperfections, or oils or grime on it. And then it cuts really nice and smooth. So make sure, ceramic if you can, for sure, because they're awesome. And polish it up on your strop. What's your strop if you're not sure? Here's an example of a McEwen handcraft strop. Pretty simple piece of leather on a piece of wood that's fancy. He made it fancy. You can check out McEwen Handcraft on Etsy if you want. I don't know if he's got a Black Friday sale on, but he made this nice little block. I can do this as well. Boom. You take your jeweler's rouge. We're just gonna go over stuff today, you know? It's just gonna be a day of going over stuff. Lots of people will say push it on one way and then kind of like do your blade the same kind of thing, the same way. Keep it straight. Don't do this. Don't flick up with it. Do it straight across, flip it, straight across, flip it, you know, that kind of thing. You're good to go, right? You're good to go. I'm just gonna do it properly now just so I have it ready to go. Well, if it's any, you know, like I know I've got a bigger following than you, McEwen, but my sale is going crazy. And some people have been smart enough to realize that the 25% coupon code that I put on all my patterns and artwork, I didn't take it off of the all my patterns and artwork because I've already got a bundle for all my patterns at 40% off. And so they just added the 25% off to the 40% off and are like, cha-ching, grabbing all of them. So it's like even a crazier deal. Same with my artwork. I've got, I think it's 40% off. Same thing. It might be less than that. Same thing. They're using the coupon code on the already discounted pack. And I was like, well, that's my own fault, isn't it now? Isn't it? Oh well. Yes, consistency is key on stropping. Don't be like, it's good to go, right? Deliberate strokes across, even. Easy peasy. And then I kind of do a little beep, 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 beep on my shirt, and we're good to go. I'm gonna set a nice discount as soon as I get home. What's the coupon code gonna be? Everybody here probably wants to know. I want to know. What's your coupon code going to be? How much is it gonna be so that they can use it later? Anyways, I've got a ridiculous hip pain right now. Oh, I think it's my what's that damn muscle called? Oh, hip flexor. It's freaking crazy. Okay, we've got our swivel knife sharp. In theory, we have cased our leather appropriately. Some people will put their leather in a plastic bag and leave it so it evenly distributes the moisture without evaporating it too much. Or, you know, I've never done that. People swear by it. I've never done it. I just let it sit for a while until it's cool to the touch, and then I deal with it. Coupon code will be Black Friday. And remember this. Remember the capital B. Remember the capital F, because it might be important. Cool. Great. We've got our swivel knife. And now, you know, I should probably put some water on a piece of leather, because I'm going to just talk about leather carving. So we're going to do that right now. That way I can do some stuff, a little bit of stuff. Oh my God, my leg. Oh. Man, why is it so... What if I just what's that rum? The rum where you put your leg up. Whew. It's rough. It's probably sore because of how much time I spend sitting down. But, see, I'm just like, screw it. It's gonna be super wet. Now, it's all disappearing into it. If there's a bunch left on top, I may pat it up with some paper towel. Seems pretty good. I'm gonna give it a little pat here. Captain Morgan. Yes, I'm currently Captain Morgan to reduce hip pain because I'm 1,000 years old. That looks really wet because it is. You could put this in front of a fan even. You know, let it dry a bit. In fact, I might do that. I'll do that just cause. We gotta speed everything up. I'll be right back. Oh, my leg. Now I'm looking for Advil. Where are you? Ah, shit. Don't have any. No Advil. I should change the topic. Give me a second, I'm going to change the topic because we're not doing the sporn, we're doing just leather carving talk. Might as well be honest in my stuff, right? Alright, I'm back. Now, when I'm putting a finish on leather carving, lately it's been an Angelus matte finish, which because I use an airbrush, I cut with a 50% water, 50% finish. I always did have problems putting a finish with a sponge on my product. I always did, and so I ran away to airbrushes and paint guns pretty early on, not completely early on, but pretty early on. And I'm sure there's some people that could come in here and give me a way better example on how to not get it streaked. Maybe McEwen's got a better idea of how not to streak the hell out of it. So there you go. But I always end up streaking it. People are like, use a moist sponge, go in one direction, cut it with water, even if you're using a sponge. I've always managed to screw it up. So airbrush, 50-50 water, and Angelus matte finish. Before that I would use Resolene, neutral Resolene. And I would still use a neutral Resolene every once in a while, so yes, there's that. Now, depending on what kind of leather carving you're doing, there are hundreds of tools, stamps, bevelers, different angles of knives, all sorts of crazy stuff that you can do to improve and expand your skills. I use 4 things because I do Viking not work. And I haven't really, I don't know. I had a very brief moment where I was going to try something different on these and on this stuff here, in case you missed on this stuff here. Let's do this one. I had a very brief moment where I was going to actually like squish in is the best way I could put it, all the inside of it and have like the outside edge kind of lifted on all these lines. But I said no. I said that's terrible. Not necessarily terrible, but just something I didn't want to screw around with. So for me, I also only use the one blade. I use like a filigree ceramic. That's it. That's all I use. There's a bunch of different ones. I rarely use anything but a filigree ceramic. As far as the other tools I use go, I think I said 4 or 5. That's a bit of a, usually 4 or 5. There are a couple things that I will do differently. I wonder if I have an old example of some carving here. I think I actually just sold a set of bracers I had for 15 years that would have had a good example of. Oh, here's one. One sec, I got it. I got a plan. All right. All right. This is a good little thing. Oh, my phone's buzzing away. Let me grab. Oh, I should turn this on. Is that one? Yeah. What do we got here? These. Let's grab these as well. Some more examples of a bunch of tools that you could use if you are interested. Remember, you can support the stream by becoming a member. You get emojis, green names. You get access to the Discord, where it's actually a lot more active now that a whole bunch of people from YouTube joined and that are part of the stream. You also get my undying thanks. And maybe something else that I forgot. I don't know. Maybe people pop up your emojis if you want to. Here we go. Anyways, my general tools that I use for this style are as follows. We got our filigree swivel knife, and we have our we have our beveler, little bevel. How close can I get before this is? So that'll give it like that little depth, right? It's smooth, it's a little angled, so it doesn't add extra little lines. And you're just working your way around your edges to give it the bevel and give it depth. That's one. This is fairly small. I have a bigger one, and I used it on a couple projects. I don't think I would use it again unless I wanted to, unless it was huge, unless it was really big. I might have used it on the quiver. I can't remember. But I really like this one. I've used this for years. If you want the number of this one, which has probably got a different number now, but when I got it from Tandy, it's on my website, but when I got it from Tandy, it was B203. B203. Whatever that means to you. Now, because it is got some, you can't really see that. Even when I do this, you're not going to be able to see that, but because it's like, let's try this. Because it's rounded, that rounding stops you from getting a really nice sharp angle when it joins. So if we're looking at, where is my stylus? If we're looking at, can this get any closer? Nope, it can't. All right, we're coming up. If you're looking at spots like here, it'll be hard to get a nice crisp line with that beveler, like right at that edge. Like I go back in and like crisp up those little tiny spots on either side here. Like I'll bring it to there with the beveler I showed you, and then I'll swap bevelers for little tiny spots. Not all of them, but some of them. And that's this one here, which is a lot narrower, and it doesn't have as much of a curve. So it's able to get into those tight little spots and give you a nice crease and give some separation in your lines. So I'll go back in with this one a lot and just fiddle with it. I might be, and Didn't always do that, and it's not a huge deal if you don't, honestly. You can, unless somebody's like, this is an incredible sporran, but I see some detail issues in it. You don't have anything to worry about. It'll be all right. But I like to do it. We do this every once in a while. So we got that. And then after that, that's it. That's what I mainly use. I cut the lines, I bevel the lines, and that's it. I don't background a lot anymore. I do occasionally, and that's where we're looking at this here. This here's got a background to it. Come on, there. You can see that texture? So that texture is from a set of stamps I've got that are different sizes. There's one more kicking around somewhere, but they are these ones. And then I think I've taken one of these and cut and like dremeled it down as well to make an even smaller one. But you background with all those. Is there a bigger one? No, I don't think there's a bigger one. That was my favorite backgrounder for the longest time. And when I do this, another thing, when I do this, back in the day when I did it, I didn't bevel this edge. The inside edge where I'm backgrounding, I didn't bevel. And I was told on one of my videos that that's a no-no. You should bevel that edge if you're like being super pro about it. And I said, well, I just don't have time for it. And they got upset at me. Looks fine, you know. If I look down in there, I can definitely tell that it would have looked better if I beveled the edge. You bevel the edge and then background over that beveled edge and everything looks even a little more sunk in. Hey, my wife's here. Maybe pop up some emojis to say hello. So yes, what was I saying? Supposedly, if you're professional, you bevel around all the edges. You bevel around every single edge, inside and out, which is what I did on this. And then after you've done this, you background it. That's what I've heard. I'm rambling a bit, I know, but that's okay. Is what it is. Anyways, there are different kinds of backgrounders. I've found another one I do like is this one here, and I'll grab a demo for you of what that looks like. But this is that one. It's got like it's kind of like a rocky looking little pattern. They're not as easy to use because of their size as those other two. I think it did it on the quiver. Yeah, it did. So on this quiver, you can see that rock. It's all around the edges. You can see that texture. That's not cattle hide texture. That's me using that tool there. Mainly on the inside areas and on the bevels, and then a little bit on the outside, but I didn't do the whole, you can see where it separates here from like textured to normal. Anyways, thanks for the emojis. Excellent. When you are beveling, go slow, lots of little taps, get a rhythm, and find a, make sure you're like obviously going, you're going one bevel, you go half up every time kind of deal. So you're beveling, rebeveling, beveling, rebeveling, so everything kind of smooths along. And if you really want to, once you're done that, I was doing hand motions. You missed the hand motions. Bevel, move it halfway so it's still on the first bevel a bit. You'll get the hang of it. Just move it slowly. Slowly and tap, and it'll blend everything together. And if there's still little marks there, which I have found that there are many times, there's probably still some on this one right here. You can take your beveler on the line and just rub it back and forth, and it'll smooth it out a bit. There's also often a, like you can tell, let's see, where's a good lighting for that? See the edge? You can kind of tell where the edge is. Sometimes I'll take my beveler and smooth that out so it more like, it rounds its way into that bevel instead of having more of a sharp angle. Sometimes I don't. What's next? All right, you've tapped along. Oh, my freaking leg. I thought I had it, but I guess I don't. Oh, maybe I do, and I just lost it. leg is killing me. Moving along, you've cut everything, you've cut your lines, you've beveled, you've done your background if you want a background, and then it's time to dye your piece. I paint all with my dyes on these. I'm going to not show you my face so I can grimace while I stretch my leg. This is all hand painted with dyes. You got to make sure that you don't drip, obviously, onto your piece. There's some spots like up let's find a better space for this. There's some spots like up here where I kind of screwed it up. I could fix that with some acrylic paint if I wanted to, but I haven't yet. Oh, my hip. What I will do is I will do all of the dyeing. Like I'll wet it actually as well. I'll wet the leather before I dye it because it kind of helps blend it a little better. Just be really careful because it'll also race into spots. So if you're dyeing, where's my paintbrush? As an example, if I am dyeing, I am making sure. I feel like I could have a better. Oh, there it is. One second. I'm gonna put a different lens on my A cam or B cam or whatever cam you want to call it, and then I can get more into the deets of this. All right, camera. Let's go there. There. If I am painting with dyes, I am making sure, first of all, my brush is usually a bit bigger than this, but once I've gathered the dye, if there's a big spot, like this here is pretty big, I'll dab it here and let the dye kind of escape from the brush before I start getting close to the edge, where I'm like staying away from the edge, the very edge mostly, because it's gonna bleed instantly right down there. So you just gotta be careful and just like add dye here. And then if you're confident that your brush doesn't have a ton of dye on it, you can get in here, like right on the edge, and touch it up. So gather dye, put it on spots, and even if you're like, if I'm painting in this area and I've got a lot of dye and I don't want to add more dye here, I'll just like go up here and add some here. Like just, okay, we'll put some here until I think there's less on my brush, and then get back into my detail spots to make sure that I don't, bleed all over the place. Have I bled much on this? I think I did pretty good. This was more of like a whoops than a bleed up here. So there's that. Yeah, painting with dyes. Bit painstaking, but looks pretty dope when you're done. Now, once you've painted with dyes, for the longest time, I just put antique gel on, like I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh, antique gel, just antique stuff. So we're just gonna, oh, it's little, look at my little brain, little head. Ah. Right, I used to just put antique gel on, and it would get in all the cracks for sure, but then it would darken all of this nice top stuff that we've got going on here, right? It's gonna darken everything. So we gotta put our resist on first, which is quite often the same as our finish. And so for my resist, I'm using an Angelus matte finish or a neutral Resolene, and I airbrush it on or paint gun it on, whatever you want to do. You can also put it on with a sponge, a damp sponge. I'd like to do a video on that where I don't fuck it up, but I'm just not very good at it, honestly. I need some more practice with it because I'm always crying when I use the sponge. So, is what it is there. What's going on? What was I saying? Horns? What's horns? Oh, okay. Is there a way to put a cap on a horn? Sure, you can put a cap on a horn. Little box stitch. What would I do? I would do a box stitch. Let's just deviate for the hell of it. You got your horn. I'd put a ring on it that attaches to a box stitched lip and cap that's set in. It goes on, and then it will have like a little toggle that attaches down to that ring. That's what I would do. And that's as detailed as I can get at this moment in time. back to what the hell I was talking about. Anyways, we spray on our resist, then we wait for it to dry, and then we apply our antique paste or gel, and we wipe it all away. It gets into all the cracks, and it might discolor the top a tiny bit. Just make sure it dries, because if you don't, it will just discolor it more. But in general, it's going to not make it a mess, which is what we want. And once we've done that, we wipe away the excess, let it dry, and then spray another coat of our finish or resist on top of it. And there we go. We've got it protected. Also, going through this process, after you've dyed it, that's a good time to oil it. So I actually forgot to oil this. I did some oiling from the back. I may add some more. But dye it, let it dry, oil the whole thing, let it sit for a bit. Resist, antique paste or gel, wipe it away, resist, or finish is, I guess, the correct term. You're missing my hand motions again. I was being super animated. But that's the dealio on the leather carving. Other tools that you can use for leather carving that some people find super handy. I don't use a ton of different tools, but there's this one here. Where's my camera? No, wrong camera. Boom, too many cameras. What can I say? This one here, it's got like a little, it angles, so it kind of dips under your, so you hammer it down and it kind of works its way under and lifts. It's got an interesting look to it. That can get some cool details on that. Since we're so close now with this macro lens, I've got, let's see if I can do a, this is that texture on those big ones. And my amazing hands. Woohoo! Beauties. Oh, and there are bevels that have a little bit of a texture too, if that's your thing. Like that. So that's just a bevel with a textured bevel. Oop, too much autofocus. Must. Jesus, come on. There we go. Yeah, we got that going on there. What else we got? Oh, those initial ones that I always used to use. And now I'm going to put some freaking lotion on my hands now that I see them up close. Come on. Here. Fancy. Fancy. Lotion. Now I get to complain about having lotion on my hands. Remember, this channel is always looking for new members. If you are not a member, you can help support the channel by becoming one. It's $1.99 a month. You get emojis, Discord access, my undying thanks, a green name, which is pretty amazing in and of itself. Probably the best selling point of that whole package is the green name. There you go. Or you can, like the video, subscribe, and share it around, all that kind of stuff. As I wipe away the slickness. So what am I going to do now is I'm going to do a little demo of some carving while I continue to ramble. As long as that piece that I did is not too wet. So I'm going to check it. I'll be right back. I should have a intermission button that plays a video. Might even be too dry, honestly. We'll find out. We'll find out. I'm gonna get some stencil. That'll work. That's too bright. So another thing we are obviously going to be doing here is using a stencil, unless we are freehand gods, to, well, it's an odd angle. There, it's better. To put on our design. We've wet the leather. It's dried enough that it's not going to be a disaster. We're just imprinting our line onto there. And if you were super lazy, you could just do this and walk away. Which would be almost film worthy, really. It's not a lot of actual full-on leather carving in film. It's just all stamps and stuff. I use the stylus for tons of stuff. Ooh, my hands are pretty slippery. I said I would complain about it, and I am. It's not like it has to be like super indented. You just have to be able to see it. And it doesn't have to be exactly in the right spot. Barely see it, but it's okay. This does feel like it needs more water though. I let it dry a little too much. We'll just give it a little bit here as I continue my ramble. Just reading along here. Can you please make a belt pattern to go with your drinking horn pattern for Cynthia? A belt pattern? Sure, I can do that. There is a belt on there already. I could do another belt. Yeah, John, any horns we buy are already cleaned out. I'm not cleaning it. I'm not coring any horns. That's a pain in the ass. Trust said, would pay with PayPal, but don't want to give YouTube my phone number for that. For what are you guys talking about? You want to know something? YouTube already has your phone number. It's Google. They have everything. They know it all. They know all. Anyways. This is alright. I can carve this now. It's still a little wet in spots, but I'm just demoing. I wouldn't start it right now. I would have probably wet it more and gone, whoops, I should have not let it dry so much. Stupid slick hands. So this is like, it looks terrible because it's really awkwardly traced, and it was traced onto fairly dry leather, so that doesn't help. But we can fix it up by just cutting our lines and not following the gimpy other lines, right? Pretty straightforward. is also an old piece of art, so it's kind of not the greatest in the world. I'm going to change this a bit. There we go. The lines on this image are a little wonky, but I will survive. Oh, thank you, Anthony. Thank you for becoming a Dark Horse supporter. We have one new member today, one of us, indeed. Yeah, I would redo this artwork if I cared. I think this was originally for my foam pattern. I'm fudging out some of the lines because they're not really curving how I want them to curve. There we have it. And you can also, you know, turn your piece while you, especially on, well, obviously not especially, specifically on curves, you can, like, if you're in a tight curve, you can move your piece as you move your knife to help with it, to help facilitate that curve. And usually where I end, I'll go back and, like, I'll do a little cleanup. Boop-a-doop. A little more reading. Did I miss? Just became a sponsor because their membership redid? That's probably what happened. I'm like, what? John says, make a leather mug sealed with hot beeswax. That's also a good idea. I've done a costrol. Can certainly do a mug. Anthony's working on a quiver using my pattern. Excited to see how it turns out. Sweet, so am I, Anthony. Let's go back to camera. This one, as I get into, it's not the greatest angle, but whatever. It's a little tight in here. Rolling through. Come on, bud. Come on. Here we go. I'm gonna make that a little tighter. And then we've got the tail. Or is it the tongue? It's the tail. Coming in. And an eyeball. Alright. Look at that action. Water on it's a little crazy. A costrol is like a canteen. It's a canteen. Yeah. It's a, where is it? I got a couple of them, but... Oh. Yeah, I got this one. This one here. now, because of the camera placement, I'm going to swap angles on this other camera. Otherwise, my hand will block the process. Getting back over here without making everybody sick. Good start. There. All right. I did forget to mention the mall. I think McEwen might have mentioned that earlier, and then I forgot to re-mention it. Grabbing my little bitsies here. Look at that. Squeezing by my crop. Alright, let's see if I can not pull out the power cord and get into this lovely little item. Got our bevels. Ready to rock. As long as I can figure out where it goes there. My center. Usually I mark my center. Doing this inverted is tough. Center's over here. Okay, let's pull this whole thing over. Here we go. Kind of. Reading stuff. Sorry. Am I even focused? Not really. Being pretty gentle in here because I don't want to accidentally bevel onto the other side of the serpent. I just want to do a little tiny bevel in there because it's so tight. Then when I get to here, I can be a little more aggressive. Hey Brogan, how you doing? The whole sporin plan kind of got thrown out the window because I was recording it while streaming and my computer said that's not allowed. It had a meltdown, but I'll show you where I'm at with the sporin. And it is 25% off on my website right now, but I'll give you an idea of where I'm at with the video. It's looking really good. I wanted to finish it today, but I decided to stream. And it kind of threw a wrench in my plans, you know? I'm sure my focus is awful on this. Sorry, guys. Hard to stay, like, in the right spot with this macro lens. Macro lens. That is not the center. So that's the center of the board, but it's not the center of the... Yeah, like better-ish. Now if I go over something like this, I will quite often, right away go back in on here, because it's kind of blended now, and that's when I'll start thinking about picking up my tiny little beveler to get like more separation in there. It's hard to really see it with what you got going on, but trust me, it looks amazing. Trust me. John, I've never really done any basket weave. I've done a little bit, but most of my stuff is just Viking knotwork on fantasy and historical type pouches and armor and shit. So I don't have a lot of basket weaveness in me. The closest I would get to basket weave is maybe a fancy dragon scale thing that blends together like basket weave does. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Get in here with this little one, get some more separation on these. If I'm even on camera, which is tough, it still continues to be tough. So that's the center. You know, my center is actually kind of my center now. I should probably have figured it out when I'm on camera. Another little spot here that could use some separation. There we go. I'm going to read the messages for a second. I'll be one piece of... You know, and if you're pounding along and you go whoops and like smash into your edge, which I've done plenty of times, I would just go and like make sure you get it all nice and crisp on your edge, and then you can pop back in with your beveler or a stylus or something and try and erase it away. And like once this is done, it'll have pressed it down a bit, and you can probably bevel the edge and bring it back up a little more. So you can like, yeah, it's not perfect, but it got rid of my mess. Same thing. I struggle with coming up with something to fill empty space with my projects. How do y'all come up with designs? For me personally, I don't know how well you can hear me right now because my mic is directional. I have really got a hang of how to do knotwork. I've just been working at it for a while. That coupled with my iPad Pro was like the greatest decision for somebody like me who I'm not joking when people are like, oh, you're great. I'm not a fantastic artist. I'm just not. Like, it takes me a long time to do the art that I do. And when I was doing it with paper, I would give up a lot because of how long it took and how much of a mess my sheet would become. So now that I do it digitally, I'm not afraid of failure, and I'm able to like screw up things and play around with it. As not to mention things like for like mirrored knot work, where you can just automatically mirror stuff. That's pretty awesome too. This is off camera. Yeah, totally. Oh well. So we're getting there. Okay, this isn't even specifically something I'm doing. This is just like a random carving, but whatever. Like, do I finish it? So once we're getting in here with the tight curves, and I will probably pop into this little narrow beveler. So we can like sneak our way around this little whatever the hell it is. Strange circle. Getting a little toasty in here. Looking good. You can do the outside with this. Get it back into the center a bit. It's probably blurry, and I apologize. This is where I'll pop back over to that little one and get around this ear. Or whatever it is, horn, ear, nose. Who knows, really? Magnus, have you tried leather embossing? You mean just like taking a big stamp? What specifically? You mean just stamping stuff? I have stamped stuff before. Like just with one big stamp. We're getting in there. It's looking marvelous. Marvelous. You know, I'm going to try that thing that I was thinking of doing earlier with the sporin that I decided not to, because I'm not making this for anything. This is just me screwing around showing you guys what I'm doing, which most of you have seen before, but whatever. What do we got? Now we got the long outside edges. It's getting a little warm in here doing this. I do own a fan. I could turn it on. You know, earlier I was talking about if you got your little, you see little impressions, you can just smooth your beveler along it. I just kind of do that a lot instinctively after just watching myself do this. I will get to the end and kind of give it a little smooth. Bottle of water, nice, that would be smart. Okay, where are we at? We're over here now. this going. There are some spots where I would like usually get in here with this little buddy. Little tight spots to bring it out a little more, depending on how I was feeling. Alright, I'm taking a little break. I'm going to turn back on the face cam. I think about my life choices. Greetings there, Kizik von Fanel. That's the best I can do at that name. Did you know that Magus holds the record for the longest firewalk on hands? What are you talking about? Just reading away as I rest my brain. Let's pop this camera and this. There. That's pretty good. We could background it if we wanted to. Could have used a textured beveler if we wanted to. But that's my little carving. I know, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's pretty heavy leather. It could have maybe gotten a little more depth, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Oh, I missed that nose part. I don't want to move right now. I just want to rest my brain and back and hands. My lotioned hands of doom. Great lotioning. Scale effects for on this piece. I don't do a lot of scale stuff. Most I would do is like, since it's like a Viking-ish knot, is I would do stuff like where I, let's see if I can just do this real quick. I would do this. A lot of the time, or some of the time, or watch me totally screw this up now doing this. Get a couple lines in there, and then we can go like do the old, I haven't done this in a while, but I just do like little filler things like designs. And you go back and forth doing that stuff. But I would never, me personally, for my art, I would never put any scales on this. I do that kind of stuff. If I needed to do scales, I would just draw scales on it. I don't think I have a little tiny scale type texture tool. That would probably make it really easy. Though you could grind off half of a punch of some kind and then blunt it a bit. So that would help. That would help out for sure. Oh, I was gonna get, because was it Brogan that stopped in for the sporning that didn't happen? Move my camera. The sporning. So this is the sporn I'm working on, but things kind of went sideways because I can't stream and record at the same time. So yeah, this is the sporn. This is the sporn. And it'll look awesome when it's done. I wanted to finish it today, but I'm streaming. I guess I could, when the stream ends. Stream won't be too much longer, honestly. Like, I did what I wanted to do, popped in, did some work, showed you guys some stuff, hung out for a little bit. But yeah, I definitely didn't get enough done on this sporn. Man, it looks, I love the carving on it for sure. Very happy with it. But it needs to be finished, you know? Well, so far we've got one new member today. We got no super chats, no super stickers. Maybe I should drop some memberships. I hate doing that, but I love doing that at the same time. If you only got one new member, I should probably drop some memberships. It's like something for me to do. I'm going to drop some memberships. Give Google my money and then get some of that money back. It's kind of funny. One moment. There. Sent out some memberships because I do that. Hear that? Ding 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 ding. It's actually not making any noise, but that's the noise it would have made, like a slot machine. Welcome to the membershipness that is this channel. As long as I don't do it all the time, I'm okay with it. If it's just me spending money on myself, so it's pretty funny. Hey, the Overlord, glad you like him. Welcome. Well, Kimberly, I have a video on how to make shields. So there you go. That's my first video on YouTube, is how to make shields. Other than the boss. You can buy the boss, or you can make it out of like a little salad bowl or something, if you want to. Oh. Hip flexorness. So yeah, quick reminder. Black Friday sale on darkhorseworkshop.com. 25% off patterns and artwork with the coupon code Black Friday 25. Feel free to go use that till Monday, the end of day Monday. I'm probably going to take off here soon. I want to clean up a bit and then maybe do some more work on the sporn. I really wanted to finish the sporn today. And I think I can get it put together in 2.5 hours. So I could probably just grind it out. Have you made a chest piece for your wife? I have not. I am going to be making a chest piece for somebody else who really wants a chest piece. So I'm going to do for her. Maybe I'll do one for my wife too. We'll see what she wants. But I'm tight on Monday, and thanks for the patterns. All good, all good. I'm gonna take off. I don't want to just sit here wasting people's Friday night. I think we got a little bit of stuff done. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit. Sorry it wasn't the video that I was originally gonna do, but the original live stream exploded because I recorded at the same time as I was streaming, and it had a heart attack. Now I know that. Lesson learned. Moving on. Yeah. So there we go. I am off. Yeah, I'm off. Yeah. Where's my mouse? I have no idea. I lost the mouse. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you next Friday, I think. What's the next Friday? Early December, so that's not a big deal. There's nothing weird going on. I can't leave without a mouse, though. I have no possible way of leaving. What the freaking hell? All right, so I'm still here for now. Still here for now. Till I find the mouse. This is awkward. Oh, there it is. Got it. All right. My outro is still my intro. My outro is still my intro. Have a good one. Mwah. I'm back. I lied. Yeah, Brogan, there's a Discord for members of the channel. Not subscribers, but members. Or Patreon members. And goodbye again.